Good morning, class. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy and warm with this. 2 inches of snow that came out of nowhere. Anyway, so what we're going to do today is we are going to learn what the requests module is and what that does, and what that allows us to do is to download images and download files and things like that from the internet. That's what we're going to cover. It can do a lot more. We're just going to cover downloading of files from the internet and saving them to your computer. So let me resize the screen. And is it this one? Yeah. Okay, so then we're gonna hop over to here now. So here's our book, and here's the introduction. And these are what we're going to go over in this chapter. We're going to focus on this one right now. Web browser, BS4, and Selenium calls come later. Now this project, real quick at the very beginning, web browser, that opens a web browser, and all you need to do for this Mapit program for it to work is just this section, actually these 2 lines. Well, you need to import Paperclip. And the reason I say that is because if you go to, I have way too many windows open. So if you go here, and this is the full code. Comment that out and change this over. And you run it. Oh, it's supposed to say Wheaton Academy. So what this little program does is anything that's on your clipboard, so anything you've recently copied, it will search Google Maps for that. So if we come here and go run it, Wheaton Academy, I don't know why it's not entering. So you have to click enter, and I don't know how to fix that. It may work for you guys, it's just not working for me. So this is really handy because I hate having to type in maps.google and bringing it up if I'm looking for a friend's house, or how far away is this city, or if I'm traveling or whatever. So what you do is, if you have this file, all you need are those 2 lines. That was a test thing for something else. You just need these 2 lines, and you have to obviously import Paperclip. What these lines do here is so that when you run it like this with this Windows R, let me do this again. If you don't have those and you save it and you do Windows R, it'll run it through the command prompt. You see how the black window popped up? I still have to hit enter, I don't know why. And so that saves a lot of time. So you hit Windows R and run it. But if you want to do Windows R and I don't have something typed in, I want to see Detroit, Michigan. That is because I copied all that out. So notice, or I commented all that out. So no matter what, if I have something pasted or something copied to my clipboard, it will find that address. Puts it here, loads Wheaton Academy. What these lines do, right? So this says, if the length of the system argument values, that's what argv stands for, argv values, is greater than 1. What that is saying is that if this right here, if these things right here, this counts as 1. So it's the length of things in here. If it's greater than 1, we are going to go from the second item, right? Index 1 is the second item, to the end. So when I type in Detroit, Michigan, it is saying the address is a space, or we are joining these system argument values, which are these things right here, and these show up as these are as a list. You can actually print those. Sys.argv. And it's not going to show it because through the command prompt. Uh-oh, what'd I do? Did I not save this? I didn't save this. So, and we didn't look at them. Okay, it's not doing what I want. All right, Command R, Detroit, Michigan. There we go. Fun fact, I grew up right around here. Yeah, right around there. So what this, and it's not printing these, it doesn't print these, because if you run it through the command prompt, if you run it through Windows R, it doesn't have the black thing pops up, the black window pops up and then disappears. And so any output you want from your code, it has to be seen within that fraction of a second, and there is a way to fix that. There is a way to actually use the command prompt to interact, but I'm not going to go through that in this video because today I just wanted to show you this. The only thing you need to have this Mapit program work with Windows R is these two. If you're just copying and pasting, if you only have the address copied, but if you want to have it be able to use Windows R and then type in any location here, you need those. You need this section of the code. So I want you guys to work on that. It shouldn't take you that long. I mean, as you can tell, it's not that long of a code. But yeah, that's a fun, and that's probably one of the most used scripts I've ever written, because it's just so quick. And that's the difference between scripts. You can either have a script that takes 10 seconds off of 10 or 15 seconds off of a task that you do all the time, or you could write a code that will do, an hour's worth of work for you every time you run it in 10 seconds or 15 seconds or whatever. So let's close a lot of these out. Automate the boring stuff. Here we go. So, and in this book, in this section, it's going to tell you can go to Appendix B, and Appendix B will talk to you about a batch file, which is a text file that you write some text in it, and you save it as a .bat file, and and you do some other stuff. Again, you don't have to do that, but you can if you'd like, but you don't have to. So this just walks you through the code in much more detail than I did, but this is the difference. So if you were to manually getting a map, going through maps versus using the script. So these are some ideas for similar programs. I'll have you guys come back to these later once we do a little bit more with this web interface stuff. So what we're going to do now, downloading files from the web with the requests module. So this is a module that does not come in that is not installed with Python, so you do need to pip install it. So we're going to go pip. Ignore this. I had it installed Paperclip, which explains why it wasn't working last week when I tried it. Pip install. Requests. I already have it. Boom. Dunzo. So then I'm going to pull up this, slide this over here, and have this here. So we're going to import requests. Should be good. Now the way this works is we do res starts with request. So we're going to do res equals request.get. Now you can put any website you want in here, but not every website will work. Right now, it has to be essentially a file stored on the internet. So this book gives us the full text of Romeo and Juliet. So if we copy this, paste it, we don't have an error. It doesn't. We could put res1 equals request.get, and I'm going to make up a website HTTPS. Okay, we do get errors, so forget that. If the website doesn't exist, you get this error. If it does exist, you get different. You You don't get an exception, but you get something else. So currently, res, we have a response of 200, and if we do res1 equals request.get https amazon.com, we have a response 503. So it was able to talk to the server, but there is an issue. 503 basically it connected, but there's something else wrong. You didn't connect to the right type of thing, but you connected to something. Response 200 is you're all set. That's good. We're good to go. Okay, you've connected and it's the right type of thing. So again, I'm just going to scroll back up here so we can have. So we have a Romeo and Juliet.txt file. So you can do res dot status code, and that gives us 200. Res dot status code equal res or request dot codes dot okay, and requests dot codes dot okay is 200. So this is saying this is the okay code. So it does our status code of what we just entered. Does that equal the AOK code? True. Okay, then we're all set. And 200. I'm sure you guys have seen request 404 website not found. That's what these errors are. 404 is a specific type of error, and if you get that error, that means it's something's wrong. So one thing we're going to do is length. Don't just type res.txt. Don't do that. So there are 178,000 characters. We don't want that. So we're going to print res.txt, because if I just typed in, if I just did print res.txt, 7,000 lines. I don't want to double click that because that's going to really slow my computer, but this is a free version, or the free version of Romeo and Juliet. So it's pretty cool. This just walks you through everything I just said. If you have any questions, this will also help. You can go to list this right here. Let's go here real quick. So if you run and you get a status code that you don't understand, yeah, here we go. An informal response, 200 something. We're all set, ready to go. 300, something, you need to do something more. 400, contains bad syntax, can't be fulfilled. 500 something is server failed to fulfill an apparently valid request. And I'll show you what that means in a sec. So yeah, res1, if you guys, so to explain this 500 server error, res1, as you can see up here, if you guys can hear that, that's just my ice maker, sorry. We wanted to go to Amazon. So res1, we're getting a response 503. So the server failed to fulfill an apparently valid request. Well, that's weird, because if I go to Amazon.com, I mean, there's obviously it works, there's something there. So why are we getting 503? Well, if you do res1.txt, you could spell it correctly. To discuss automated access to Amazon's data, please contact API services support at amazon.com. So Amazon can tell the difference between someone trying to get to their website via web browser or via code. So you can't just automatically access or download things from Amazon. We can and we will write automated processes to open a web browser, but just not, this isn't opening a web browser. So that's what 503 in this moment, in this example, what that means is that it's a totally valid website, totally valid request, but Amazon doesn't want automated access to Amazon data. Makes sense. So checking for errors. So what this will do is you always want to raise for status. Now what does that mean? Basically, it will throw up an error if it doesn't work. So we're going to copy res equals requests dot get, and we are going to, this page does not exist. Oops. Okay, so res response 404, so it does not exist. But if we do res dot raise for status, oh, I forgot the parentheses. We have an error, so it doesn't exist. This is good to do a try and accept, because if this pops up, you obviously don't want your code to crash. You want to tell the person, hey, what you've logged in, what you've tried to get access to, doesn't exist. So yeah, oh, exactly, here it is. So try raise for status, there was a problem. So I'm gonna, so again, I've been trying to tell you guys, always code with try and accepts. Actually, just do this. I can't make that any, there we go. So you guys really do need to do this. So if you guys have a website, we want to try raising it for status, because this will, you will get some sort of answer almost every time with this, unless you do something like I did where you just typed in gibberish, which you don't want to do. But if you'll get some sort of response with this. So raising it for status, if there's an error and it's broken or that website doesn't exist, this will throw up an exception, and you can do accept exception as exe. So just like we do, oops, just like we do import random as r, that's exactly what this is doing. Accept exception as exe, so that puts the name of the error as a variable, and then you can print that variable. So that's pretty handy. But this is, I do want to start seeing this in your guys' code for using this. I want to see a lot of try and accepts. Now the last thing we're going to do is saving downloaded files to the hard drive. I'm going to get back to, so we still have res. Oops, no. So I'm going to come back up here. There we go. Okay, so response 200. Got it, we're good. What we're now going to do is we're going to save this file to our desktop. So all we're going to do is play file equals open juliet.txt write binary. Now, oh wait, this is not going, hang on. I need to change my, my Python scripts. is it? Oh, shoot. Oh, I can't. Why can't I remember this? There we go. Sorry, I got those screwed up. Okay. Boop, 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 boop. I have to write that all over again. So, this right binary I'm going to get to in just a second. Actually, it's up here. Even though it's a text file, like this is saying here, so the way text it works is that it has to be encoded in a certain way, and I don't know that much about it. It's just when you guys get Unicode errors, which I'm sure you guys have all seen, you have an issue with your string, you have issue with text. Text has to be written in such a way that it's kind of universally understood by your computer. And so if you just wrote W, it wouldn't work. You have to specifically tell it to write it in a binary fashion from the internet code, from the internet file to the file in your this is a long video. I don't know how long this video is going. Oh, it's gone 21 minutes. Shoot, that's way too long. Okay. So what we're going to do real quick. Is our play file open. We're going to open Romeo and Juliet. And what we're going to do is we're only going to write the first 100,000 bytes, which isn't actually that much. So for chunk, it's actually about half of it. For chunk in res.iter content. What that does, it allows the content to be broken up into chunks with this iter content. Iterable content, as you guys know from for loops. If it's not iterable, you can't loop through it. So you have to break this up and write it in chunks of 1,000 bytes. So I'm gonna go play file dot write chunk. Play file dot close. So now when we go here, should see a Romeo and Juliet. There you go. So, okay. Yeah, we're not going to do anything past HTML. I do want, if you guys do have questions, you can always go to this website here. This is all about HTTP or requests. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this. We're obviously not going to streaming downloads, multi-part file uploads. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this. We're obviously not going to go into it. We're going to use it for downloading files. Yeah, so what I want you guys to do is just get that. We're going to do this later, XKCD comics. What I want you guys to do now is just make sure you have that mapit file working and upload that. So that'll be your homework. And I don't want you guys to just have the 2 lines with the copy, with the paste and the address. I want you to do the whole thing and make sure it works. And that's your homework for today, because this video is pretty long, so I apologize. Hope you guys are having a good day. Stay safe, stay healthy.